Welcome to another round of Master Phil in your corner. Today we have a repeat offender, my brother, Khyl Farrison. He's been on several times before, and this is episode number 86, called The Reality of Self-Defense. Khyl, just give some of our new listeners your background, with your jiu-jitsu and being a corrections officer and strength training and so forth.
Just a quick rundown. After I graduated college, 4-year degree in exercise physiology, did some personal training. What wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with athletes. So ended up, getting a job at University of Alabama, Birmingham, and then worked at a couple of different universities throughout the United States. The problem with college coaching, though, is that, the money's never going to be there unless you're a head football coach or a head basketball coach.
Right.
So I left the profession, took the job with the Rockland County Sheriff's Department. It brought me closer to home and to my kids. It provided a wealth of security in terms of pension benefits and those things. And at the time of my life, it fit the need. But something was missing. I've grown up in sports my entire life, and being part of teams and team locker rooms. The Sheriff's Department was great in some respects, but in other ways there was still a missing void. And so while I was working there, I opened up the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, added a wrestling academy, inside, and then did some, strength conditioning. And so that's where I'm at today. I ultimately also left the Sheriff's Department voluntarily, as I did leave the college coaching realm voluntarily to pursue my dream. People ask me all the time too, like, how could you give up the security and all those things? And I try to coach people and say, look, if you're not living your dream in life, and if going to work every day is just a job, it's time to make an adjustment. And so, ever since I left the Sheriff's Department, I haven't worked one day in my life because I enjoy what I do, and I love helping those folks that come to me. And obviously you guys follow the wrestling program. We travel to far off places, to seek out the best competition. So I'm truly living my dream right now. And like I said, I have not worked a day since I left the Sheriff's Department. So that's just a little rendition. I'm not going to go into my background competitively because that stuff is irrelevant at this point. Now it's about, are my kids being successful? Are my students being successful? So that's my motivation and drive now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I come up and help out, as often as I can, and come and support the tournaments and so forth. And I see what you're doing, and you're doing great things. I mean, Rockland County, New York, has not seen an academy like yours. The level of expertise, the mindset, the physical training, all comes together.
Yeah.
But and this brings us to our subject today, because it's the reality of self-defense, the reality of combat sports. Look, unfortunately, there are occurrences that are going on in society where people are getting abused. I get emails, phone calls, texts, PMs on social media. Hey, I'm being abused. How do I do this? How do I take care of myself? This, that, and the other thing. Look, if let's say you're a 110-pound woman going against a 200-pound man, you're going to lose. Straight up fight.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
So, how can you defend yourself? And the thing is that, some people say, gosh, I'm afraid to hurt someone. I mean, look, I'm not advocating running around just wantonly smashing people, but you know what? If you have to look at it this way, what is your life worth to you?
Yeah, sure.
What are you willing to do to preserve your life or protect your children in many instances? And I'm not going to sit there and tell a person, oh, take this course, for $100 or $200 or $500 or $1,000, and you'll be able to defend yourself, because that's garbage. That's never going to work. And I have an issue with people like putting forth false information like that.
Yeah.
But what in your mind, what are some of the things that a 100-pound woman should be doing in order to help her to defend herself and succeed?
Phil, and I can openly admit this, in terms of the business world, I consider myself a blue belt at best. The business is still green. It's only been up since 2017. So I'm also learning, and I'm seeing what's out there, and I'm seeing marketing strategies, and I think that there's a discrepancy between a marketing strategy and reality. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that until one is actually physically attacked, one doesn't know what's going to be necessary, for A, survival, and B, to preserve your own life. And so unless somebody has actually been attacked and knows what that feels like in terms of your physiological responses, your physical response, in many cases, especially in today's world, it's never a one-on-one fight, it's 2 or 3-on-1. Until you've been in that scenario, it's very difficult to even have an opinion. And just like we've talked over time, there was 2 separate instances where I was attacked, while working for the sheriff's department in off-duty instances. And had I not been trained properly, things could have turned south, because at one of the times I did have my off-duty weapon. And so, if the assailant grabbed and reached my gun, we'd be having a different conversation now. But what I can tell you, though, is
maybe not even
having a conversation. But what I can tell you, though, is that because my training regimen was such, but more importantly, my mindset of knowing that things happen in life, and if you're walking around and you're one of those people that thinks it can't happen to me or it can't happen here, that to me is not the mindset. And I believe in my school specifically, that's the only school that I can speak of really. That mindset is taught, and I mention that to my students on a daily basis. While yes, this is jiu-jitsu, and some folks are there for the sport part of it, some folks are there for the self-defense part of it, some folks are there for the the friendship part of it, whatever the case may be. There's still a mindset associated with all of the moves. I've never done striking in my life. I couldn't begin to tell you, but I do know this about sports, and I do know this about physical contact. There is a mindset involved with punching or elbows or kicks. You're not just doing it to do it, you're doing it with intent.
Yes.
And so that intent needs to be trained as well as just the skill set.
Yeah, the thing that I want to get forth, that I want to put forth to people is this, listen, jiu-jitsu can be incredibly effective in the street. Boxing can be incredibly effective in the street. Muay Thai, something like that. Anything there where you're actually having contact. And this is the thing, because people, when they get hit or confronted for the first time, don't know what to do. And they talk about the fight or flight syndrome. Well, there's another one called freeze. Most people freeze.
Yeah, for
sure.
They
freeze. They don't know what to do. They've never been hit before. They've never been grabbed before in an aggressive manner. And unless you're getting grabbed, unless you're getting hit, unless you're training for that and conditioned for that, you're not going to react properly. Look, I have a whole self-defense program that's online. Okay. I think it's great. We cover a lot of different things. There's also 20 workouts with it that are included in here, right? It's instructional and workout. But it's not enough. You have to actually get in there with someone and have them grab you by the throat, throw you on the ground, throw a punch at your face, try to kick you in the groin, and you have to defend it. You can't just learn a video. That's why I have such an issue. Like, again, I've told you, I've been speaking with some people who have been in these situations. And listen, you can't just watch a video and do it and think you're going to be okay. You have to actually get grabbed. You have to know what it feels like to have someone twice your weight on top of you trying to put a forearm in your throat. How are you going to get out of that?
Well, see, like for my students at my school, and this is another saying that I have for them, I'm a huge advocate for my students competing. Okay. And, while competing, one has to deal with the emotions of the arena, the setting, the crowd, and then obviously somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And, the loss is going to create emotions in one's life that a lot of people are fearful of.
Yes.
And so, I tell my students that while I will not require you to compete in jiu-jitsu, I highly recommend it, because you don't know if your skill set is going to be effective unless you use it in a full speed, full circumstance, or somebody's trying to tap you out. Otherwise, I can't say that it's not going to work or be effective, but I've had other students come into my school from other areas, and when they get grabbed, you know, with the gi or whatever the case may be, it's almost like they see a ghost. And then so, you know, at the end of the class, I advise them, you know, like, how effective is your protocol going to be when I just watched my jujitsu student grab you and you froze, like you said, fight, flight, or freeze, right? And so I have seen that freeze moment in my school. And then unfortunately, those folks leave and never come back. And you know, that's sad to me because, you know, jujitsu effectively probably could have made their skill set even sharper than it was. You know, just by getting over the fear of having somebody grab you and close quarter contact. So I'm not sure how other people do it. We lost the light, folks.
Hold on, technical difficulties.
We lost the light right here. Right, the red light is for my skin. It's almost like a filter on a iPhone camera. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, we're back in business here.
There we
so
go.
Hopefully, my little pit bull won't knock the lights over again, but I think she's well en route to do it once again.
Well, folks, I have a dog right here, right next to me.
She loves Khyl, so she's not blinking at you.
Yeah.
So the thing is that you know that I can't emphasize this enough is that you have to know what it's like to get hit. You have to know what it's like to get grabbed if you're going to defend against it. It's like saying, hey, gosh, you know, I want to do good at calculus. I want to solve equations. I want to take a test and never practice it. If you haven't really done it, how are you actually going to do this?
Sure.
The thing is that what you said about competition, competition is the closest thing you're going to get to a real life situation. Because you're being attacked by a force that's trying to hurt you, and and generally it's an unknown force. You don't know this person, you don't have familiarity. It's not like you're training, because like, listen, even though sometimes you can train really hard with your partner, you're probably not trying to rip.
No, for sure, yeah.
I mean, look, when you're in a competition, you want to rip the guy's arm off. When you're training with your partners, you don't want to hurt them because then you're going to run out of time.
For sure, absolutely, no question about it.
It's a whole different level, and until you've done it, like in my Survivor Strong program, I don't even permit anyone to be an instructor unless they've been in it for real. Like, you know, let's say you're a cop in a high crime area or something like that. You've competed in jiu-jitsu, you're a Muay Thai expert, you know, something like that. You know, you have to have that real life experience to notice the physiological things that are going to happen to your body. What's going to happen? What's going to happen with your breathing? Your pupils are going to get dilated. Your legs and arms are going to feel heavy. Your breathing is going to be labored. How are you going to deal with that if you've never dealt with it?
You know, I saw a very good meme on Facebook the other day, and, you know, don't quote me on it, but it was something along the lines of, it's better to be a man or a woman that can potentially hurt than to not have that potential to hurt at all.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That had something with Jordan Peterson.
It was something close to that. I'm not quite sure, so don't quote me on it, folks. You know, but he was talking about the mindset. Nobody in life is walking around trying to hurt other people, right? But it is comforting to know that if something comes your way, you at least have the ability to do it and to defend yourself so that you can go home, right? Whereas if you don't even have the ability or you lack the confidence or the skill set, right? Well, now if something comes your way, now you lack the ability, you lack the mindset, you lack the confidence, and there's a good chance that you're going to get hurt. And so those that are training self-defense need to be wary of the fact that, you know, getting hit, like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right?
There you go.
And so at the end of the day, in jiu-jitsu, right, there's cauliflower ears and there's constantly fingers jammed up and there's things going on, right? But people persevere and they continue to come back and they develop a toughness and a hard shell.
Yes.
And over time, that person, when they're promoted to the next belt, they have earned that belt, you know, and they have, you know, they have the background for it.
Well, it's a part of callousing the mind and the body.
Yes, yeah.
So the body gets conditioned to this. The mind gets conditioned to it so that, you know, when you get into the fracas, you're used to it.
Sure.
You know, you've been there before. You've dealt with the anxiety. You've dealt with the physiological changes that occur in your body. So what can you do? You can respond. You're going to go into automatic mode and respond. Like
Great, we're automatic mode because I was just, and I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You've been attacked before.
Yep.
I've been attacked before.
And we're both here.
And I'll be honest with you, I can't really tell you what all transpired
Mhm.
because the mind shut off and the skill set appeared miraculously. And that's because it was trained the right way.
The only reason that I knew what I did in fights was from witnesses telling me what I did.
Or days later, you'll have little blips of it come back.
Right.
Yep.
And they told me, and I was able to fill in the blanks. And then, okay, all right. Then
I remember
I remember this. But at the time, I had no idea what I was doing. And all of a sudden, it's over.
Yep.
All of a sudden, like you got a guy on the ground, and your friend's pulling you off.
And that's, you know what? That's because the skill set that you developed was also a mental skill set, right?
Exactly.
The mental part of it. There's a physical part. There's an emotional part. There's a mental part of it.
You know what? I'm so glad that things were changed in the 5 components of fitness. I don't know if you've seen that recently, but there was a new.
No, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, they changed recently. Okay, so right now what we have is muscular fitness, which has strength, explosive power, and endurance. Okay. We have, of course, body composition, which is your amount of body fat. We also have flexibility, which I put mobility in it, flexibility and mobility together, right? We have obviously cardiovascular fitness. Now the other one that they put in, which is really cool, I love this adaptation, neuromuscular fitness, the mind-body connection. I'm so glad that this was updated by the
for sure.
By the Exercise Physiology Organization to put this in, because that's, I mean, you think about it, that's everything connected together, and that's with your, whether it's yoga, martial arts, whatever, you're being mindful. And you had that connection between your body and your mind. And this also helps with your performance.
For sure. And you know what? I tell my students all the time, when they're training live with each other, the mind is telling the body what to do. Right. And so, if you're looking for a submission in class, and obviously nobody's trying to hurt each other, right? But you do take the submission to the point where you get the tap out. And, a lot of that is your mindset while performing that move. Learning a move is just learning a move. If there's no mindset attached to it, then it's an empty move.
And the thing is that, my fear is that a lot of these people are being taught empty moves in these self-defense seminars, these self-defense workshops, these self-defense programs, because they're not being, I know, girl, they're not being taught what it's like to get grabbed, to get hit, to get smashed to the ground, and how to recover from that, because it's going to happen. Okay.
And unfortunately too, Phil, like, guys like you and me that have lived a lifestyle of learning it the right way and now teaching it the right way. We are shunned a lot by many people, and that's that, and again, that's unfortunate that happens. But you and I have similar mindsets, just like when I saw you the other night when I was out to dinner, as soon as you walked in, I saw somebody else is around that has the same mindset. And, while we're shunned for it, and I understand why, because there's not many people like that walking around, it's unfortunate, but I'm focused on what we're trying to do at NY United BJJ. And obviously you're a part of, the helping part of it. So I'm just going to stay focused on that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's funny because, I wanted to bring this up too, because when Steve and I walked in, Steve's also been on several times. I used to bounce and bodyguard with him, and your eyes lit up.
Of course, yeah.
You didn't even, the first time you've ever even met him, but you could tell by the way we walked in and what we did that we were of the same ilk. And you see, the thing is, if you're secure in yourself, I want to hang out with alpha males. I don't run away from them. I'm drawn toward them. I like to be with strong people. Those are people I like to, why? Because we can talk the way we talk. We can act the way we act, and we understand each other's mindset.
Share stories about things in the past and things like that. The conversation we had the other night, with your friend and yourself and myself, everything in that conversation was real. It was a real conversation with real men, and I appreciated it big time, because it's very far and few in between that you have 3 people like that sitting at the same table. And, it was great to catch up, obviously, with you, but, meet somebody that has similar interests and similar experiences. So, I felt grateful when I got home for that experience for me.
It was a great time. So it's really funny because, sometimes you get put in these situations. One time I was at a party with my wife, and, there's like 7 other guys, and I'm there, and I'm just kind of hanging out, eating my sandwich, sipping a beer. And she goes, how come you really didn't talk to anyone? I'm like, look. There's 7 guys standing there talking about a golf game.
Yeah.
I throw knives.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
what do I talk to them about?
Yep.
You know, I mean, no offense, it's what you like to do. Good, God bless you. I'm not going to waste my day chasing a ball around a course. You know, I like to do something that's useful in raising my level of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I'm similar in some ways. I mean, yes, have I tried to teach my kids how to throw knives, but by no means am I an expert. You know, but my life has always been geared around sports, and that's what I love and appreciate. And the competitive mindset is always there, and it's always going to be there. Like even last night, folks obviously know that I coached strength and conditioning at the Division I level. So I was never really a big basketball fan until I got to work with Coach Willard at Seton Hall, who's now the men's basketball coach at Maryland. And he was Rick Pitino's top assistant down in Louisville, right? But, the athleticism that those kids have and their ability to change directions and control the ball, I over time, they earned my respect. And I said, you know what? That's a real sport right there. Them kids are super athletic.
I will tell you that is one of the most athletic sports there is.
Yeah.
I'm not a basketball player. My daughter plays. My nephew, he's pretty good. He's a senior, so I go watch him, and the athleticism,
the ball handling, the shooting.
If you're off like 1 millimeter, that thing's not going in.
It's a great skill set.
You don't have backspin on it. You don't have the right back. It's boom. You don't have the right trajectory. It's not going in. Listen, if I don't have the exact right trajectory on my punch, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's still going to still
absolutely. Yep.
But with these guys, it has to be extremely precise. You're off a millimeter, boom, that thing's in and out.
Yeah,
it's I've definitely good appreciation for it as well. As good as at Maryland, that's my alma mater.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, So Coach Willard left Seton Hall after rebuilding that program. Shout out to Shaheen Holloway, who's now the men's basketball coach at Seton Hall. And that whole tree of guys is going to do big things in the college basketball world. The whole tree. I still talk to all of them too.
Oh, that's great.
I still talk to all those guys.
You got to have me in for a kettlebell seminar down there.
You know what? They probably would love it too, because basketball guys are very finicky about what they want to do with the weight.
Because they don't like to get too big.
And if you touch their legs too much, because the sport involves so much running and sprinting and changing directions, they can't afford to have super sore legs. So they're very finicky about what they want to do and what they will do. In basketball. So
it's funny. One of the college courses that I teach is on exercise physiology, and we actually have to go and train a basketball team. So we have different teams, and I pit them against each other, and then we have their different programs and track their success and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
Another thing that we should point out too. And I mean, obviously this is your show, and the concept of the Buffalo Bills and what we watched transpire on a Monday Night Football game a couple weeks ago. Obviously it was tragic in many ways. Fortunately, DeMar, survived and is doing well on the path to recovery. Right. But I was so enthused about his first words.
Yes.
He was more concerned about, did we win the game?
Yeah.
And that is the mindset of a competitor. That is the mindset of a winner. And so when I heard that, it actually brought tears to my eyes because, the commitment level and the love and the camaraderie and the team. I tell you what, the Buffalo Bills are going to be tough to beat down the stretch because they got a lot of momentum going. They do.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. This playoff picture is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But Khyl, as always, a pleasure to have you in here. Let's thank our sponsors first, though. PhilRoss.com. Don't forget to go there for kettlebell, martial arts, video training, so forth. I'm on Burn Along. We have the P3 training group. Don't forget to look for me on Warriors Island. I also want to give a shout out to Newsmax for Carl Higbee having me on his show, Tough Guy episode last week. And it was in the Wake Up America Sunday morning show. So you definitely want to check that out. If not, check it out on my YouTube channel at themasterphil.com. And guys, just always good to be here. Have you in, Khyl. I'm sure you're going to be
stay motivated, stay vigilant, and have a plan in the event that the worst happens. Truthfully, have a plan.
And you have to train hard and for real if you want to pull this off.
Yeah.
Okay? Bottom line.
Yep. Agreed.
Strength and honor.
Have a good day, guys. We always